Welcome to Riding Along. Today's about how to self-edit your own book, which isn't the worst decision you'll ever make by a long shot. It's actually quite simple, although you do kind of have to distance yourself from your work, which is something that usually, if you hire someone, they already naturally aren't familiar with your text. They're reading it for the first time. You, on the other hand, not only are you not reading it for the first time, it's something that was from you. So you're going to be pretty critical about it if you're critical about yourself or anything in general. If you have a pretty strong inner critic, get ready for an interesting ride, but it's not impossible. In fact, again, if you don't have the resources to hire an editor, it's feasible and it's completely free. All right, you're the only one in holding the book, reading the words, finding the mistakes. It's all on you, so you got to be comfortable taking a little bit of responsibility. But there are a few simple tips in general, things you want to keep in mind when you're doing it. Okay, so first, before you go and edit your book, whether you're finished or you're working on, maybe you're halfway through and you're just a little excited or you're done, give it some time. As in, just throw it aside. Leave it saved on your, if you wrote it digitally, leave it saved on your desktop. And don't look at it for another week or so. Preferably if you're not in a rush and if you got some time, and not everyone that thinks like this or wants it, but like if you have some time and you're not urgently just trying to get it out there, let it go for a month. Live your life. Celebrate a little first that you finished something and then return to it. Like I said, this could be a week, this could be a month. I don't exactly recommend years, but just because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in a couple of weeks either, but you're seeing my point here, okay? You want to minimize that window of uncertainty for yourself. Ideally, you want to get something out there, okay, before you never know what happens, okay? So, with editing your book, when you distance yourself for some amount of time, it's like your eyes see it fresh. Your brain kind of reads it fresh. It's still a little familiar. It's still like, oh, I know you. I've seen you before. But you're less likely to edit and massacre all these words that really were fine to begin with, but because they were so close and you couldn't really appreciate it for the whole that it already was, you'll just destroy it. You'll just erase, you'll delete things. Much like self-editing while writing, while you're actually in the process of it. I have a video on that as well, and it's the same concept, but it becomes a lot easier once you're done, because by its nature, it's whole, it's complete. Yeah, it's not where you want it to be yet. Some spelling errors, stuff like that. You can make grammar errors, that's fine, but something horrendous, just you don't have to get caught up in the stuff that doesn't matter. It's like your eyes will be adjusted. It's like you hit focus or something, or you unfocus from just one place, and now you're seeing everything. And again, the perfect time to edit is after a little bit of time. Other things have gone on in your life. You're not just thinking about it. Or trust me, you're going to delete a couple brilliant chapters for no reason at all. And otherwise, what you want to do too is not set an extreme timeline for yourself. You can edit your book in one day if you want, but nothing's free in the sense that you're always investing something. Watching these videos, you're not paying a dime for them. I want people to be able to make the choice here. I want them to get as much content and as much advice as they can get, but you're still making an investment of your time, and if you're investing your time, it's worth it. So there's different kinds, and it's the same one here with your book. This is my favorite kind of exchange because pretty much everyone has it. Yeah, plenty. We're all wealthy in a sense, if we choose to be, with how we spend this resource that lots of people don't really step aside or stop every now and then to appreciate. You can dedicate yourself to certain things. You can fix your eyes and listen to, you can just watch reality TV. But guess what? If you like it, if you're enjoying it, who am I to judge? If it's giving you something, and if this is giving you something, let it give you this. Don't think you have to edit your book in a couple hours. If it feels comfortable, if it feels right, go for it. But it's not the only way. You can edit it over the course of a few months. You can do a chapter a day. Just look through it and, pick out this, pick out that. And what you want to do, if you have it as a digital document, hopefully you do, it's a pain to copy from a page to, it's not impossible, but it's a pain to copy from the page to typing. You wouldn't believe it, because as you're building up, it feels less, like it doesn't feel like a lot, but when you suddenly have all these words to transcribe, it's kind of annoying. But get it digitally. And once you do that, print it out. Again, change the font. If you already have it, put the font to something else. Nothing absurd, something you can read. Go with something standard. Something that looks book-esque. Something that resembles already. Use Georgia, use Times New Roman. Resembles what might actually be in print. And when you start reading it, it's going to actually look a little different. It's going to look more official. It's going to resemble what you kind of want it to begin with. Whereas, you write it in a freehand or some generic, I'm not saying Comic Sans, but you probably wrote it like any one of those other light fonts. That any shift at all between what it was and what you made it into now is going to do wonders for your brain's ability to pick up on it as something new. And from that, we're experts at picking out little things here and there that need fixing. You might just repeat the word "the" a couple times. That happens. You might forget a piece of punctuation that you didn't make an artistic choice to leave it out. You just forgot to. Despite a lot of the advice here being non-traditional, generally, it's focused on intention. You can leave punctuation out here and there if you want, but is that what you're trying to do? Is that your purpose? Did you not end that quote because it signifies this and signifies that? It's your choice. But don't let that be an excuse for yourself not to edit your book. You want to make it effective. You want it to resemble what you wanted it to be. And I don't think your brain intentionally spelled the simplest word incorrectly, and you have this typo that's just annoying and changes the entire meaning. Watch out for your reader. Just keep them in mind. If you keep the reader in mind, it's going to go a long way, as long as you're appreciating and kind of understanding what they're looking for. What would you be looking for as a reader? Would you want all these annoying typos littering everywhere? No, but let that be some inspiration to keep going, because you're going to start very motivated. It's going to be, chapter 1, chapter 2, I'm pretty much done with this. I've got this. And then, the next day rolls around and it's like, okay, I'm not very, where'd that motivation go? I had it just a second ago. It does go, it flies away from you. So set a pattern, set some kind of routine for it, much like writing. And it's going to really help you out. It's going to guide you, and there's going to be like little bite-sized pieces of work that you got to do every day. And it does. It's a work. A literary. If anybody releases something, it's their work, life work. Because it is. It's in the name. It's in the terminology that people use. Not on accident. It's not just a breeze. You're going against your natural instinct to kind of be idle. Some of you might be thinking, I'm not idle. I'm constantly motivated. I'm constantly doing something. Be honest with yourself. I'm pretty sure. If this isn't the fact, let me know in the comments. But I'm pretty sure your mind likes to default to just resting. To just kind of passively receiving things and letting things work themselves out for themselves. Not taking any steps on your own. At least in some areas. Same thing's going to happen with editing. And this is where you need to understand as well. You're not trading off this job to someone else. you could pay someone money to do it, and they'll do it happily because you compensated them. They're getting their investment into it back, right back at them. Maybe even before if you paid them first. I hope you paid them first. Well, it depends if they're a trusted editor, but you get what I'm saying. And when you do it yourself, there is a trade-off. Don't think it's nothing. It's your time. It's taking away from things you might otherwise be doing. Not things you might otherwise want to do, but anything else that would fill up those hours of yours is now going to be spent editing. And see it like that. See it as this reciprocation. You're giving something and it's coming back to your book. And really, if you step outside of it all, this is how you'll stay motivated. You're giving back to yourself. That book is a form of you. It's just giving us something random. You're giving us something that is going to provide for others as well once it's out there. And it's not just going into a void. Some actions just are devoid of anything. It's like you're trying to grow or plant seeds on and what? Infertile ground. Nothing's going to come up. But if you know that what you're planning on is something that will return something back to you, something back to everyone, then you're going to be much more likely to stay a bit more motivated doing it. And you're going to have to be aware of that when you're in the process. Like I'm saying, it can feel like a drag sometimes. But it's not because it is. Because you lost focus, you lost perspective, you lost sight of what it is. So, go and edit your book. If you don't have the money for it, if you want to do it, maybe you have the money. It's still worth it. You're going to go back and you're going to look for typos. If you don't make any, tell me your secret. I don't know how to avoid doing that. I really don't. Everything I write has a couple typos here and there. Or I forget to leave a punctuation mark that I meant to put. It skipped my brain. Maybe you can relate that. If you can't, again, tell us all the secret. Let me know in the comments too if you have a book that you're self-editing. Tell me how it's going. Really, I'm really curious about your own writing projects. As always, check out How to Write a Book in 30 Days at writingalong.com. It's going to get you started. If you have no idea where to go, this is going to push you in a direction that will give you something back. Take you where you need to be as far as writing and writing your own book. All right, I'll see you around and see you in the next episode.